Thank you for Patreon now for donating to the Patreon.
Hey guys, Vanity, Ezel back with Card Fight Vanguard, Ezel and Vanity weekly review, so hope you guys enjoyed it. Like, comment, subscribe, and so shall we. This time we are covering more reviews from DZ Set 2, so we're getting Blackm later today, or technically 2 days from now, which is when this video will actually go up, so that's going to be pretty fun. I was half right on what his skill was due. I was right that they would bring back something like Blade Wing Radiant V does. We have an entirely new Rattling that I was not expecting, and a good amount of Almagestar support cards, and the funnest promo I've ever seen that I sadly cannot use because of the one rule I made with promo because of one comment 3 years ago. So let's go and get the start, shall we, and see what we got. First up, we have our Lung Shaft Dragon, Great Tunes at 5k shield, 10k base, act rear guard once per turn, energy blast 5, draw a card, choose one trigger from your drop zone, put it to your soul. Okay. This is fine as, like, Almagestar support. Obviously, Almagestar doesn't need it because I think Almagestar straight up binds from drop. But, I mean, this is fine to getting, like, a crit into soul via Almagestars. But I will keep saying it. Almagestars does not need ways to get them from drop into soul. They need ways to get them from deck into hand or drop zone or soul. It doesn't matter which or. They have plenty of cards that get them from drop into soul. We just need to get them out of deck. And thankfully, we do actually get Almagestar support that does that. I don't know why Bushy keeps printing these for anything that does soul triggers, but I mean, this is useful for Transroto though, so I will keep that in account. Either way, a nice support card for them at least. Don't run this in Almagestars 3 over 4 of. Then we have an Infernal Bombardment, grade 3 normal order play by ditching a hand card, so it's ditch 2 to play technically this card and something else. Choose one of your Vanguards and it gets auto Vanguard. When your opponent's rear guard is retired by your card's ability, if it's the first time this turn your opponent's rear guard is retired by a card ability, draw a card Soul Charge 1. If it was the second time that turn, draw a card Soul Charge 1, and this year you get plus the power for that turn until end of turn. The downside is, I wish this said, I wish this ad said second time or more, so then, you know, you could, or at least the 10k part was second time or more, so you could just keep getting 10k, but I mean, it does add nice pressure for Bruce, I'm not gonna lie. I feel like Bruce has had like 3 different iterations of support effects. They've had the wanting to be restood during Final Rush / Final Burst. They've had, and that was, you know, with Eden and stuff like that. They've had call stuff from Soul get effects, specifically that one card, those 2 cards that came out with Julian, and then Julian himself, and Leonard as well. And then past that, we now have this where you benefit from killing your opponent's rear guards, Eden and Leonard respectively. So Bombardment is all, and not just them, but Patrick as well. But technically Patrick doesn't kill rear guards, he moves in guard circle. Either way, the Bombardment is a nice order. It's not amazing. I do prefer the other ones that give numbers to front row, especially the one that came out of set 2, which was so fun to play when it came out. But if you want to run this, because it is free soul and hand cards and numbers, it's a 2 of, but 50-50 on it personally. Then we have Treetop Songstress Edita, Great Tunes at 5k shield, 10k biz, auto rear guard when she's boosted, Soul Blast 1, choose one of your other rear guards, and it gets boost for that turn. Okay, cool. That's actually really good because it gives anything boost, which means she is so splashable in every other deck. Like, if you just have an excess amount of grade 2s and grade 3s on board, worst comes to worst, give them boost. I cannot tell you how many decks I've, like, randomly played were partially because of a misplay, but then partially because I made a bad call that was a 50-50 bet. I've ended up with more grade 2s on board than anything else. So being able to casually give one of them boost to seldom fix that mistake is very nice, because one of those times was with Lyrical Monastery, and I promise you I would have won that if I actually had Edita back then. So, you know, I might run her as like a 1 over 2 of tech just out of curiosity, because like I said, 1 or 2 bad calls tends to lead to that decision. Anyways, 2 of. And of course, we have Griff's Chimera, our Almagestar support. Great Tunes of 5k shield, 10k base, auto when placed on rear guard circle if your Vanguard with Almagestar's card name. Ditch a hand card, look at top 2, choose a card from among them, put it to hand, put the other on top or soul, and this, you know, get plus 5 power for that turn. Cool, works while you're a grade 2. It stacks the top card to either guaranteed to give you a crit. Again, we don't really need them in drop zone. We can get them out of drop zone very easily. So we just need ways to, or we don't need ways to get them to soul, but cool, if you already have if it's a crit on top, you can just keep it there because you're going to drive check and then you're going to guard it and then you're going to put it to soul. Or, you know, you can just put it to soul, right? Because maybe it's not a trigger, and you do get another one to hand. And I remember you can just add a Griff's Chimera from this and then just call a second Griff's Chimera. And the best part is it works while you're a grade 2 because the entirety of the Rhydon has a much different card name. All around, Griff's Chimera is a very solid grade 2, and I do think it's really cool. 3 over 4 of. Then we have the exact thing I was talking about earlier, Star Servant Demon Girl by Franus. Grade 1 boost, 5k shield, 8k base, auto when placed on rear guard circle from hand, counter boss 1, look at the top 3, choose one from among them, put it to hand, choose another from among them, put it to soul, and then discard the rest. So, top 3, mill 1, add 1 to soul, add 1 to hand. She is amazing. That skill alone is great because she's generic for all like decks in Dark State. She can just get a 1 free hand card and 1 free soul card. But then also act rear guard once per turn if you have a Almagestar Vanguard by soul blasting 1 and energy blasting 3. Search to 1 either card with Astro in his card name or a critical trigger, put it to your soul. Shuffle your deck if you put into soul, choose a card with both equal with a different name from this unit and a grade less than or equal to your Vanguard from your drop zone, and you may call it to rear guard. All around pretty solid. It can get you more rear guards on board. It literally searches for crits. So if you have my problem and then the crits just stay in deck on occasions, this just auto searches them. But then not only that, it gets an extra Estreo into soul, which I get is for Baiko. So, you know, Baiko has like a soul blast target, but I would have preferred if it added it to hand instead, but I could see why, because then they would either have to add more text to make it so that the crit wouldn't go to hand if you chose a crit, or they would have to make it so you have to discard one if you do put like something in the hand. Either way though, Bifrons is a very nice grade 1. Replaces your soul, gets triggers, or not gets triggers. Well, it could get triggers into drop zones if you are playing Armor Good Ezel, but I don't know how you would try that with Almagister on the Vanguard Circle. But either way, being able to get triggers into the soul is just all around pretty solid, and get you more rear guards while you're at it in a deck that doesn't need EB at all and literally is a free soul blast and just replaces itself. It's a very solid grade 1, and I love her easy 4 of an Almagister. Then we have the new ride line that was randomly released alongside them. Like, I'm not kidding. For me in Discord, it was 10:41 p.m. So 3 hours before these reveals happened is when we got news this was getting revealed along with them. So for those of you that don't know, this is the Skyride. I think it's called Skyride. The Skyride ride line from the main character of the manga Skyride for Vanguard's Koro magazine. Some BS. I don't pay attention to the mangas. Anyways, Vardrua, Great Zero boost, 5k shield, 6k base, armor, put him second draw card, standard stun position, free draw if you win second. I hated these things when I first saw them, and then I began to love them. I don't know why. I thought they were really cool, especially after playing the deck. Also, they are called Cyber Dragons apparently, so just make that clear now. Next up, we have Rising Star Vanjura, grade 1 boost, 5k shield, 8k base. This is my favorite in terms of art out among the ride line. Continuous Vanguard during your turn. It gets plus 2k for each of your rear guards. And Continuous Vanguard, when you would ride from your ride deck, you can soul blast one instead of choose a card from hand, discard it. So the whole point of this deck, and you can obviously just tell off this skill alone, it's spam rear guards. It is spam rear guards 24/7. Hit the opponent with everything that you've got. If, let's just say, this was in Dragon Empire, I promise you Dragon Empire would be so much more busted with this. Because I cannot tell you how much of this deck... This deck is basically Opmile, but for Dragon Empire, and less of a steroid attack deck. Like, that's kind of what it is. But either way, though, free ride deck, and then not to mention the fact it does get numbers for more rear guards, so it benefits you from early game rushing. Though typically you're not going to do that, because I think most of your deck is going to be grade 2, since a lot of the skills specifically target grade 2s. Not grade 2s or greater, not grade 2s or less, specifically grade 2s. But it's fine. So one of in the ride deck, sadly none in the main deck, because no rear guards goes. Then we have Shooting Star Vardrua. We finally have another card that interacts with the ride deck. Grade 2 instead 5k shield, 10k base. Active Vanguard once per turn. If you have 4 more rear guards available from your ride deck, and this unit get plus 1 crit for the turn. The thing I find funny about this is the day that we got this, we also got the Blaster Blade promo reveal. And for those that don't know, Blaster Blade's V version said if you had 4 more rear guards while it was on the Vanguard Circle, it got a crit. So I just find it funny that almost verbatim, this card got that exact same card skill. The only difference being A, it's not continuous, and B, it involves the ride deck flip of like the easiest target in the roll, which is nice. And then the other skill, which is really cool that its skill is actually generic, is Auto when rode upon. Look at the top 7 cards of your deck, choose one grade 2 card specifically from among them, reveal it, put it to your hand, shuffle your deck. Oh, I just been calling it straight. Okay, fair enough. And if this unit was rode upon by a grade 3 or greater card of a range of its card name, look at all the cards instead of just the top 7. So pretty much, if you play this in any deck that isn't for Rigid, you're probably not getting the extra crit, but hey, at least you're getting a free grade 2 to hand. And if you're playing it in Varudja, you check the entirety of the deck. I'm just gonna say that's just good. Because if they ever make a really busted generic grade 2 or a really busted grade 2 Varudja in general, they've automatically have to like be very careful of either what it's going to do or they're going to have to hit this in some way, shape, or form. Because again, free top 7 search of just anything that rides on it, but of the Varudja, you literally search the entirety of the deck. One of them in the ride deck, none in the main deck sadly, but free crit on turn 2 is also really nice for pressure, especially in an all rear guard spam deck. Then we have Stardust Blade, normal order special move. I forgot if special moves like had anything requirements. I think the Mushi King line had special moves, so I don't remember if like there are special rulings for them if you could only have a certain number of copies in the deck, but currently I run 4 of them. Anyway, Stardust Blade, play it if you have a Varunja and his card named Vanguard, counter blast 1. Look at the top 5 cards you have to one unit card from among them with a grade less than or equal to your Vanguard. Call it to rear guard circle, shuffle the deck, and then choose one of your Vanguards, and for the rest of the turn it gets auto Vanguard when your rear guards are retired by your opponent's card ability. I don't remember what indeed does it. I can think of a handful of examples in Premium that do that. Denial Griffin. When your rear guards are retired by your opponent's card ability, search up to 1 normal to call it to rear guard and shuffle your deck. Oh, that's gonna be fun to deal with. Just the amount of rearguard spam. That is not a hard once per turn, and it can be any named unit that's a normal unit, so we can just keep going until either you deck yourself out or until your opponent dies. And continuous Vanguard Circle. This unit gets plus 3,000 power for each normally on your rearguard and drop zone to end of turn. So, if this is a one of, I see why. Because not only did last week we get searchers for orders, but then also... the one time I did get to use, like I've only been able to use it once because it never shows up otherwise, but the one time I got to use it, and I was not even setting up for it because I actively forgot it was in the deck, I got a free 48k without even trying. And this was on second grade 3 turn. Yeah, Stardust Blade is, and this was with the sub-optimal version of the deck. I just want that to be clear. So Stardust Blade is good, because it's not different in normal units either. It's just for each one on your board and each one in your drop zone. Giant Beat Stick. If this is a one of, if special moves are one ofs, this is probably why. And even then, thanks to the new order players they got us last week, this is not really a problem. But cool, 4 of. If you're allowed to run at 4. Then we have Rewrite the Star of Varja, so grade 3 10% 13k base. Again, used to hate him, but I don't know why. This was the one that started making me like the card arts, and I like its little circle in the background. Anyways, Act Vanguard once per turn, Energy Blast 3, finally another main Vanguard that uses Energy Blast that isn't one of the faded ones. Choose one of your opponent's rear guards, bind it, and then choose up to 1 grade 2 unit card from your drop zone call to rear guard. Again, specifying grade 2s, I don't know why. I don't know if I just missed something when I was trying to build my Dragon Empire deck, because I swear there's got to be some busted grade 2 if they keep specifying grade 2s with these. But cool, rear guard bind, which sadly doesn't proc rear guard with higher effects, and it does get you an extra rear guard. And then auto Vanguard, when this unit attacks, counter boss 1, choose one of your grade 2 rear guard, stand it. Okay, again, specifying grade 2s, I definitely had to have missed something, because I feel like there's some really busted grade 2 that they either planning on making or not planning or already exist, and I've just overlooked it. But either way, cool, I do like its focus on grade 2, I just wish there was a little bit more good grade 2s to go with that. Also, something I realized yesterday when I was putting this together, this is a rare. The highest rarity is a rare for these. So like this is what I want for budget lines. Like Bushy actually gave me what I want and I wasn't even aware of it because I legitimately thought this was a double rare or a triple rare. They gave me a budget ride line because it's one of the lowest rarities, or like the highest rarity I would expect for the main grade 3 rare, and then the rest of these are straight up commons. They actually gave me what I asked for, and I'm actually happy. You know, maybe that's why I started liking the deck subconsciously, because after playing it once, I was like, this just feels like something I want. And you know, maybe I was right, because this is what I wanted. Anyways, thank you, Bushy. Continuing, we have our promo, Blaster Blade the Vanguard, whose literal text is the same chant Aichi uses when he rides it. And I'm just going to pull this up now because it's so funny to say this. And I'm literally going into Discord to find it. Where is it? Okay, here we go. Tachigare boku no bushin! Okay, stand up my avatar, Blaster Blade the Vanguard. So with 3 exclamation marks specifically. Grade 10, so 5k shield, 10k base. I really do love the art on this one. Continuous soul. If your Vanguard is a grade 3 with Majesty or Blaster, your Vanguard's original power becomes 18. So, actually, wait, no, that works with V, because the V Majesty Lord Blaster doesn't say its attack becomes 18, it just gets 5k, so 23k base Majesty, let's go. And then auto hand, at the end of your Vanguard attack, counter boss 1, bind your grade 3 Vanguard with Blaster in its card name and only Royal Paladin for its clan, ride this as stand, and it will get plus 5,000 power for the turn, so it's 15k. At the end of the battle that this unit attacked, or at the end of the battle, yeah, this unit attacked this turn, ride the bound card for the cost as rest. So you do have to swing with this, because if you don't, it will just stay on the Vanguard circle. I mean, you'll be constantly at grade 2, but cool. Extra Vanguard swing. And then auto when placed on Vanguard circle, Energy Blast 3, choose opponent's rear guard, kill it. Gives a Vanguard an 18k base, so indeed that's even better than the 15k base we were stuck with, so they wouldn't break it. In V and in Premium, technically, because obviously you can't play as a V. In Premium, the Vanguard's now a 23k base. You have an extra Vanguard attack, and not to mention the fact it has a ride deck skill, Need Be, that just kills a rear guard and a resource that the rest of the deck doesn't really use outside of generic cards. 4 of, and if it wasn't for my one rule of promos having to be in English, I would 100% make the MLB deck right now. But yeah, because I gotta wait this one out. I'll come back to this when it eventually comes out in English. Hopefully it comes out in English. Then we have Regalia's Piece, which I am still disappointed by, and that is Unite the Sky, grade 2 Blitz Order, Regalia's Piece, you only have one Regalia's Piece in your deck, and you can only use it once per fight. Play it by counter blasting 1 or energy blasting 3, draw a card to remove it, and then choose one of your Vanguards, and it gets plus 15 power for that battle, and then bind a card from your drop zone with the same name as your Vanguard or from your soul, and that unit gets plus 25,000 instead of 15. So extra guard power, which is nice. and it has the same cost of the generic ones. And the reason why I specify this is auto when it's discarded from your hand while riding from the riot deck. Current boss 1, energy boss 3, draw a card, remove this card. I get it. I'm not saying that it having that effect makes it bad, but I find it so disappointing that every nation already had a grade 2 that did this exact same skill word for word, and then they chose to give us it again. I'm not saying the skill is bad. I'm just saying I don't think they needed to recycle it, but sure, why not? It's a good card, just one of it. Then we have some Volino support. First off, we have Volino Soldato Grudari, grade 2 and 5k shield, 10k base. Auto placed on rear guard circle. If you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with the Scry and his card name, Soul Blast 2 chooses a card with Volino's card name from your drop zone and grade less than equal to your Vanguard, call it to rear guard circle. So procs while you're a grade 2, procs while you're a grade 3, get you an extra rear guard on board for Volino's, which is nice. And then during your turn, continuous rear guard. If you have 3 or more units with Volino and their card names, it can be the same card name. It gets boosted in 5k power. Okay, so if you use his ability at all, he's automatically at 15k because he counts himself. The Vanguard's obviously Volino if you're on grade 3, and then considering the fact that you're probably going to call Volino from this, even if it's the same name, it's still 15k. Easiest 15k boost I've ever seen in my life. This is what I was waiting for Volino support. Easiest 4 I've ever seen. Then we have Volino Soldato Shidakari, grade 1 boost, 5k shield, 8k base, auto rear guard, then do your turn. If you have 5 or more units with Volino on their card names, counter boss 1, bot deck this, choose up to 2 Blitz order from your drop zone, put them back into your hand. All around pretty solid because Volino kind of has a CV problem, especially if you're trying to go between offense and defense. But being able to make you decide if you're going to need the defense more, you can counter boss 1 and bot deck this to at least add the more defense back to your hand, and you will technically refresh it next turn when you use Lascria's skill to get a free counter charge. All around Chitaraka is a nice grade 1. It does eat into the CV problem a little bit, so I would say it's a 3 of or even 4 of because again it does recycle orders. Then we have Volino Famigilia Palaragier. This is the one I'm not running at all. Actually, no, I do run this just because it's another Volino. Anyways, grade 3 to personal 13k base, auto rear guard. When this attacks into a Vanguard, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard for the Scry and its card name, card boss 1, choose one of your opponent's rear guards until end of your opponent's next turn. It cannot intercept, and it does not stand during the stand phase. So while one of the rear guard grade 3s, and the one I will use more often than this one, restands and attacks, this one proceeds to do the opposite, but instead shuts down your opponent's units. It's not bad. It can definitely help better in a control sense, and definitely describe being a more defensively focused deck. While yes, you're going to want offense to keep up, it's nice seeing it get more defensive options. So what I'm thinking is later along the line, we're going to get a lot of cards that either want to be offensive or want to be defensive, leading to 2 very different builds of Lascria with Volinos, because like I said, we have 2 polarizing grade 3s here. But either way though, it's a nice grade 3. I'm probably never going to use it because I don't like shutting down my opponent, and yet I play control decks decently often, but I don't play it in the typical control way. If you want an example of this, watch me play a mill deck. I am the least controlling mill player you will ever run into. The most control I do is me arbitrarily making you mill your ace cards off of the factors of pure luck and nothing else. So yeah, take that as you will for reasons why I'm not going to use her that often. But she's a Volino, so she does nice for support of 3 of, or actually no, I do run her the 3 of in my deck, so 3 of. Next up, we have Night Dancer, the Fine Sword Diana, grade 2, intercept 5k shield, 10k base, continues rear guard. If your other unit is placed on rear guard from the deck during this turn, she'll get plus 10k power, so being a 20k is pretty solid for all around. Like, it's a nice budget deck card. I see what Bushy is trying to do. They're trying to give us budget cards, and again, they gave us a really good budget Radla in the form of Verdura, and honestly, this works really well with Verdura if Verdura was a Keter Sanctuary card. In fact, I thought this was Stoicheia, and I thought that deck skill said Drop Zone. Either way, though, Diana's a good card. We just need more cards to warrant making her good. Beyond that, we also have Dynamic Lyricalist Apuchi, grade 1 boost, 5k shield, 8k base. I really love her headphones. I am a sucker for anything with headphones. Auto when placed on rear guard circle other than by a unit with a card's ability. Counter plus 1, add a normal order from the drop zone to the hand. Cool. For all the order-based decks in Lyrical Monasterio, simple. Counter plus 1, bounce something. All around, pretty solid. It can be placed by anything as long as it's not superior called. So, all around, pretty solid. Not an amazing grade 1 because it is counterblast heavy, and I believe all the order decks want counterblast except for Lutetia. But, you know, if I'm wrong, then it's just a free CV. So, you know, 3 of or 4 of, if you choose to run it, I probably won't run it because I feel like the decks already have enough ways to get the orders back, but that's my opinion. Then we have Dashing Forward with a Smiling Face and a Powwow, Delphina. Grade 1 boost, 5k shield, 8k base, auto rear guard at the end of battle this unit boosted. If that this unit boosted. If you return a rear guard to your hand during this turn at all, Soul Boss 1, retire her, choose a grade 3 or greater card with Marlene's card name from your solar drop zone, bot deck it, and if you put a card, choose a card with the drop zone with the same name as one of your grade 2 or greater units, add it to your hand. Okay, so they were afraid of getting more PGs. I think that the ride line is the reason why this says grade 2 or greater, because they knew the ride line could search PGs, didn't think it was that bad, proceeds to see people consistently pull double PGs out of nowhere, and then now they're like, yeah, let's not give them a way to recycle said PGs. So all around pretty solid. She does open up the rear guard circle for more multi-attacks, which is pretty solid because a lot of Lyrical Monasterio Superior calls require them to beat open rear guard circles, so now we can pull that off more consistently. But also it does allow you to possibly recycle Persona rides. If you have multiple Marlenes in drop zone, it picks any card with the same name as a grade 2 or greater, including the Vanguard. So all around, Delphina is probably my favorite because she's the only one that actively gets you a Persona ride back. So Delphina, very solid grade 1. I like her skill, easiest of the 4 ofs.
Now move on to our final cards for the day. First up, we have the colored version of Unite for the Sky, the Blitz Order we revealed earlier. Then we have our Blackm reveals. I'm going to run through this one really quickly because reveals went late and I really have to get this fight video done. So first up, we have our starter in Calamity. Cavity Malgia is the standard remote upon every 1 second draw a card starter. Then we have Hollow Raptor, Auto Grade 1 boost 5k shield, 8k base, Auto wrote upon by Vacant Fang. You reveal the top 3 cards of your deck and you put all grade 1s or greater from among them into your soul and then send the rest to bottom. And if you put 2 or more cards, you draw a card. So a nice way to help increase the hand and also soul charge 2 cards for free, or release 2 cards for free hopefully. Then we have Vacant Fang, who does the exact same thing with a grade 2 and 5k shield, 10k base, except it has to be read upon by a Blackm grade 3. Again, since all these faded 1 grade 2s aren't really specifying, there's a chance they all get evolutions, and by chance I mean high chance they all get evolutions, but we'll talk about that later. Either way though, exact same skill, 2 free soul, except you shuffle the deck this time instead of putting them at the bottom, and it's still a way to get a draw, which is nice. Then we have, I am so happy to see that he is free, Faded 1 of 0 Blackm. So first up, Moon. Second up, 2 skills, Auto Vanguard. When this unit attacks into a Vanguard by binding 2 or more, up to 4 face down cards from your soul, you may draw a card, and if you bound exactly 4 or more cards, your opponent chooses 2 of their rear guards, binds them face down, and he'll get plus 5,000 pound on the battle for every 2 face down cards in your bind zone. The important part to note is you have to bind at least 2 for his skill, but you do not have to bind 4 exactly. You can bind 2, 3, or 4, which is all around pretty solid. You can possibly get a draw if you want to, so if you're about to deck out, you don't have to use it. And it's a nice way to help increase power, all without paying Counter Blast or Soul Blast, technically Soul Blast. And then Divine Skill, Auto Vanguard. At the beginning of the guard step of the battle this unit attacked, if your bind zone has 8 or more face down cards, you may have this unit get +1 critical for the turn, so easy to pull off once you get to the second grade 3 turn, and then if you do, your opponent cannot play or call Sentinels from hand until end of turn, and choose one of your opponent's Vanguards until the end of the opponent's next turn. All your opponents, so aka the player, and that unit's ability, the Vanguard, are nullified. So Persona Rides will still activate, but the important part to know is, unless your opponent rides again, they automatically cannot use the Vanguard, which sucks in any Vanguard heavy deck. Like, this is an FU to Zorga if they don't Persona Ride, because that immediately shuts down Alchemagic. And the important part is, it nullifies opponent's skill. So everyone that said that Blackm was a hard counter to Raziel because it could nullify the Vanguard, and we didn't really know specifications if it nullified the opponent too or not, confirmation, it nullifies the skill Raziel gives you. So basically Raziel gets an FU from this. Blackm, very solid grade 3. I cannot wait to test this out, and that is why I'm running through this, because I really want to play this card. And then we move on to our support cards. Okay, single-handedly the best support card I've ever seen in my entire life. Grade 3, 200 Persona, 13k base, single strike, Shatter Colossus. Auto rear guard when it attacks into a Vanguard. If your bind zone is 4 or more face down cards, really easy to pull with Blackm over here. You may have this unit get plus 10,000 power for that battle, not a mandatory if you don't want it to. And then if you do at the end of that battle, put this unit to soul. So it's soul charge, but here's the important part. Auto, when it is put into the soul by your card's ability, counting his own, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard Blackm's card name, bind this unit face down, draw a card. So simply put, this card gets against a grade 2 Vanguard, is still 23k swinger, and immediately gets you a free draw as long as you're on Blackm. There's no reason not to run this at 4 outside of the fact you can't afford it, because that's really good. Then we have Invoke Alchemist, probably one of the best restanding support cards I've ever seen. Grade 1 boost, 5k short, 8k base. Continues rear guard during battle boosted if you have the grade 3 or greater Vanguard with the respective faded one in the name. It gets plus 5 in power for the turn. Also, straight, or for not for the turn, for the battle. All around though, it's my favorite of the faded one grade 1 support cards because auto rear guard, when it boosts a grade 3 or greater Vanguard Blackmire's card name, it'll get an extra plus 2k for the battle, so 15k booster. And then if your binds on has 4 more face down cards, just by counterblasting 1 in a non-counterblast heavy deck, because this is free, these two are free, you get to choose one of your rear guards and stand it in the front row, and then if your binds on has 8 or more cards face down, that unit walks to get plus 15. So ignoring this is the easiest part to pull off. It's one's counterblast and a non-counterblast heavy deck for a free stand. This is also a 4 of, and again, the only reason you can't play it at 4 of is if you couldn't afford it. And then our last card for the day is Steam Raider Zamug, grade 2 intercept 5k shield, 10k base, auto when placed on rearguard circle if you have a grade 3 grade Vanguard Blackmire's card name. Card boss will reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, put any number of cards into your soul from among them, shuffle the deck, and if you put one or more cards, you may draw a card. I love how this card, because my one issue with these is that these had to hit grade 1s or greater. I love how this one card can immediately get you a free Soul Charge 3 if you needed to. And then auto rear guard when this unit attacks. If you have a grade 3 grade Vanguard Blackmire in his card name, and this unit's critical is 1 or less, Energy Blast 3, it gets an extra 5k and extra care for the battle. So stack all your rear guards on one column. The Vanguard, the Divine Skill turn is going to be double crit, and God knows how much. And Zamug's also going to be double crit. Okay, I'm gonna end this one here now because I really want to play this. So I hope you guys enjoyed. This is honestly looking really solid, and I don't think they need any more support past this point, because, or at least in set 2, because my god, that is incredible. So without further ado, I'm gonna end this one here. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, look for Twitch, and if you don't mind, I'm gonna go start playing this now. So I'll see you all then, and yeah, stand up your Vanguards.